G'day folks, welcome to another episode of Silence is Golden, coming to you live from Studio A here at WP Elevation headquarters in the world's most livable city, or is it? Melbourne, Australia. My name is Troy Dean.
I'm Simon Kelly.
Coming up on today's show, we have a very special guest live in the studio with us. That's right, he's standing over there shaking his head wondering what the hell us clowns are up to. We also are going to be talking about the fact that 3 of the biggest tech companies in the States have decided that you no longer need a university degree to work there, and it's about bloody time, I say. We're also talking about productivity and goal setting. It's going to be a great episode. I hope you can stay with us. Hey, welcome back. Simon Kelly, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, good, mate.
Excellent, very
a
good.
bit of deja vu.
I know, a bit of deja vu. We tried to do this about 10 minutes ago and the interwebs failed us.
Yeah.
And we thought we were live and we were just chatting to ourselves.
Yeah, which we
would do anyway.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Just being live kind of helps with the vibe a little bit.
That's right, exactly.
What's going on, my friend?
Just excited to be here, really excited for this episode. As I was saying before, it's great that we're like mixing it up with different things every couple of episodes, getting someone in on Zoom, getting someone in live, just mixing things up and keeping it challenging. It's always new things to learn, which is cool.
That's right.
Yeah. Some other things that happen in the world, of course, so let's
yes.
take a look at what else happened on the internet.
Stuff that happened. That was a very quick introduction, I must say. It was a
Smashed it out.
very quick segue. Max's fancy fingers are dancing very quickly there to get the bumpers happening in time. And our special guest is scratching his head. I don't know whether he's amused or confused or a bit of column A, a bit of column B. What happened this week? 3 of the biggest tech companies in the States have decided that you no longer need to be have a university degree to work there. Who are the 3 companies? There we go. It's on the lower third. Google, Apple, and IBM drop the college degree requirement.
Oh, that just fits in the lower thirds right there. There you go. That's the limit in terms of characters.
Yeah.
I thought this is quite interesting that this is no longer a requirement. There's been quite a few tech companies in the past that have done this anyway, but it's just that it's becoming a lot more mainstream now. Seeing that Apple, IBM, and Google have picked it up.
I would have thought it was a disadvantage if you actually had a college degree.
Why's that?
Well, because whatever you learn in college is redundant. Unless you're learning how to, do like mechanical things or like, being an electrician or something like that. But if you're learning like tech skills or anything related to, startups or technology, I used to teach at a college actually, and I used to teach a module called e-business. It's actually what they called it, e-business. And I used to teach third-year students e-business. And one of the problems with the whole model there is that they put in the private college puts in a funding application to get funding from the government so that they can offer the students fee help, right? In other words, hey, come and study here and pay us back, when you're making enough money that we can just increase your taxes and you can pay off your student loan. You know how this works. Well, in order to qualify to offer students student loans, you have to have your curriculum approved by the relevant government bodies.
Yeah.
And once that curriculum is approved, you can't change it for 3 years.
They're a bit slow moving.
So I was teaching e-business to a bunch of 22-year-olds in, 2012, and I was not allowed to talk about social media.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in the curriculum.
Yeah.
So if you've got a university degree and you show up here looking for a job and you haven't actually worked anywhere else, I'm going to make an assumption that you don't know anything. Because what they've taught you in university is not going to be relevant because we've all moved on.
What did the E stand for?
Electronic business, that's right. I was teaching them how to use fax machines and do internet banking.
Yeah. If it's on the electronics, you'll learn it here,
right.
Unless it's social media.
It's on the e-webs, unless it's social media. And so I said to them point blank, I can teach you social media, but I can't test you on it because it's not in the curriculum.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone, I'll get in trouble.
Funny thing is, the star student who got the highest grade, he wrote a paper on basically how he could have done this entire degree, the 3-year degree, without turning up to campus. And he could have done it via a members portal, remotely. And I said to him, I'm going to give you a great mark because it's a great paper, but you realise that you're probably not going to be the most popular student around here because, the faculty...
Just undermining the whole
That's right.
setup.
But he was right. He was absolutely right.
Yeah, he didn't go on to start open universities or Udemy or something, did he?
No. So the big tech companies are finally realising that you don't need a university degree to make a solid contribution.
Exactly.
And in fact, our guest, who we're going to bring in later on, we were talking off screen about the fact that we both dropped out of university because we thought it was a bit of a waste of time.
What did you study?
I started a Bachelor of Educational Theatre.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to be a drama teacher.
Yeah.
And when you study to become a teacher, there's a saying: those that can do, and those that can't do, teach. Those that can do, those that can't, teach. Well, when you study to become a teacher, you realise that there's an extension to that saying that goes: those that can do, and those that can't, teach, and those that can't teach, teach teachers. So we basically had the worst of the worst, teaching us how to go and teach others because we couldn't do.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Meta teaching there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a downward spiral into mediocrity, really.
Yeah, fair enough. I did, I think I would have mentioned this before, I did criminology for 3 years.
That's right.
And now here I am, not doing criminology.
Not doing criminology.
Yeah, it was awesome though. Learned a lot. Got a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Had a good time
that's
doing
right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, big shout out to
help.
Annalyn Aguilar and Matt Robinson and Jin McEnany, who are watching live here on Facebook. Annalyn says hello. Hello, Annalyn. Thanks for tuning in.
Speaking of Facebook, they have announced their Facebook connectivity. They've always been about connecting people and bringing internet to the rest of the world. And they've just put a lot of their different projects under one umbrella brand called Connectivity. And when I went over to their head office a couple of months ago, I was looking for...
Do you want me just to pick that name up?
Yeah, for sure. I'll just drop that into the conversation lately. I was looking for, Mark. I was looking for my friend Mark.
I didn't get an invite to Facebook's head office. We were in San Diego together, and I said, I'm going back to Australia now. And you said, I'm going off to Facebook and Google and the Apple headquarters in Silicon Valley.
So I was looking for my buddy Mark, and couldn't find him. Yeah. The Z-Man.
He was busy, was he?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Got to make an appointment these days. And I walked past this huge mural on the wall for their Aquila. I think it's called Aquila project, which is unmanned aircrafts that fly at 60,000 feet, bringing internet to the rest of the world, using lasers to provide fiber optic speeds. Like, it's just what social network is now using unmanned aircrafts.
Yeah. Google did something similar a couple of years ago over New Zealand. They set up hot air balloons, didn't they? They sent up hot air balloons with big Wi-Fi routers in them, and were trying to testing whether or not they could provide internet to remote parts of the world.
Yeah, wow.
Not that New Zealand's a remote part of the world, but I think they were just testing whether or not they could do it in New Zealand, a small market where it doesn't really matter if they get it wrong. Yeah. No offence to the New Zealanders watching. In Australia, one of the test markets here is Adelaide, actually, my hometown. You go and test a new product in Adelaide, and the theory is if it works in Adelaide, it'll work anywhere.
Well, a Tesla battery or something?
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this is a thing. Google and Facebook are sending up aircrafts to provide Wi-Fi internet to parts of the world that...
Vastly different approach there. One is unmanned aircraft that travels exceptionally fast using lasers, and then hot air balloons.
Can they send some over Australia so we can get better internet here in Australia?
A couple here in this room would be quite nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, Oakley Capital is set to acquire cPanel. Now that
set to acquire cPanel.
Yeah. They haven't acquired them yet, but there's talks.
This is pre-news, is it?
It's pre-news.
Pre-news.
So they own Plesk. Yeah, did you know that?
I did know that. Yes.
Yeah. So now they're going to own like 95% of the the server management software market. Yeah. That's good for competition. Good on them. They'll do what they please, I'm sure.
And Trojans.
Yeah.
Awesome. For those of you who don't know what cPanel or Plesk are, they are pieces of software that allow you to manage web servers for your clients, basically. Right? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yep.
Very good. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about... We don't have a bumper for this, so I'm just going to do it live. Let's talk about what made the Wii come out this week. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we have a saying here at headquarters. When we get excited, we say, a little bit of Wii just came out. And that's our way of saying that we're very excited about something.
Mm-hmm. So what made a little dribble this week, Troy?
So I've been trying to wrap my head around a couple of things. I've been trying to wrap my head around how to map out our funnel here, our marketing funnel. And so the first thing that we did is we printed out, we logged into all of the different tools that we use, and we printed out 43 A4 sheets of paper, and we put them up on the wall in the office. And if you go to our Facebook page, I believe, there is a post there called The Great Wall of Marketing, where we show a behind-the-scenes video of what that marketing funnel looks like, which was great for us in the office here in Melbourne to figure out what we were doing and kind of work out where the holes were and where the low-hanging fruit was, but not very good for communicating with the rest of the team who are in Sydney and in the Philippines and in the States and in the Gold Coast. And so I then transferred that into a tool, an online tool called Funnelytics. And Funnelytics allows you to basically drag and drop icons and assets around on the screen and map out your funnel. And then the pro version allows you to put a bit of their JavaScript on all of those different pages and actually measure the performance of that funnel. So I think we're going to do a little screen share here now if we can get the Wi-Fi to work. Max, and there we go. Look at that.
Damn.
Funnelytics. So just briefly, I'll explain what happens. Facebook ads.
Zoom in and have a look around.
There we go. Go on. Yeah, no, go on. No.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Let's do it.
Facebook ads drive people to a webinar registration page. Yep. They then opt in. They then land on the thank you page. From the thank you page, they then get funneled over to Facebook Messenger for reminders about the webinar. And they also then get funneled down into a Facebook custom audience where we can send ads to them to remind them to turn up to the webinar, because one of the big problems is show up rates. Then there's a series of emails that go out that continue to add value and further indoctrinate them into our philosophies and the way that we operate here and our beliefs. And then a final set of emails that go out to get them onto the webinar replay, where we offer some value, teach them some stuff, and then offer them to come and join our program. And so this funnel allows us to see at a very high level visually the customer experience and the customer journey, and then we can drill down into more details and figure out what's going wrong and where our conversions are lacking, and the whole team can have a look at this. So Funnelytics is the tool this week that made a little bit of wee come out for me.
Nice. What was the strategy behind printing it all out?
I kind
Instead
of was
of jumping straight into the tool.
I was, and someone upstairs has very kindly put that YouTube link in the underneath this video here, where you can go and have a look at the Great Wall of Marketing. And hello to Kristen Craig and Keely Worth, who are watching live here on Facebook. I was frustrated in I knew how the funnel worked in my head, but I couldn't actually see it all in one place, and I
all the
wanted
different pieces, the emails.
I wanted to see the Facebook ad, visually see the Facebook ad, and then have a look at the landing page, and then read one of the emails that someone gets. And I had to have like 3 or 4 different browser tabs open to see that happen, and I wanted it all in one place. And Ray actually said we should just print it out and put it up on the wall. And I said, well, it's funny you mention that, because that's exactly what I've been thinking. So I spent a day printing out 43 A4 sheets of paper and blue tacking them all up in order and moving them all around so that the whole team can just stand there and visualize this is the customer experience. And straight away we realized there was some low-hanging fruit that we could improve to improve that customer experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's it's fascinating. We were talking a little bit off camera about like getting a little bit away from the technology, and sometimes it can actually get in the way when you're trying to achieve something. You could have done it in a tool and straight into Funnelytics or whatever, but then that would have been one tab of 1,000 that you would have had open, and you wouldn't have been as focused on getting it done and seeing the opportunities there. So
that's right.
Interesting process.
Big fan of getting analog when you can, which is a nice little segue into our guest, who is coming up very soon, and I'm not going to spoil that. I'm going to let Simon take that glory. But before we get there, we just wanted to share with you a testimonial from a recent event that we ran out in San Diego for our high-end mastermind group called the Mavericks Club. While we were out there, some of our members very kindly offered to say some nice things about the program and about what it is we do. So we thought we'd share this testimonial from our good friend Kat Townsend.
Well, there's this little thing called WP Elevation, and they have this blueprint, and I don't know how I ended up signed up to it, but it was amazing. This guy has this exact process of what I'd been trying to build myself for years, and it was all mapped out in like 6 easy steps, and he had all these templates. I was like, wow, I need to join that. So I joined WP Elevation, and it was amazing, but I only implemented maybe a third of all the stuff out of the blueprint. And I always had on my list to get the rest of it done, but I just never found the time. So when Troy advertised Mavericks as basically this group that it was where I wanted to be, and you actually got time with Troy in a room with a small group, I was like, no brainer. I need to be there because this is so valuable what I've done already. I need that support to actually get the whole thing done. It was quite funny because I really bought this so that I could be in a room with Troy because I was watching him on these videos and I was thinking, wow, to be able to talk with someone that has that sort of insight and have them apply their knowledge and skills and experience to my business, it's like, okay, I will pay whatever it takes to get there. What I didn't expect was actually getting in the room and yeah, Troy's amazing and Simon and Pete, the mentors, like they've got so much to give and bring to my business. I didn't expect that it was actually the other people in the room that were going to have such a massive impact on not just the ideas, but actually giving me the tools to go away and use. So we've sat around this week, 3 days actually, it wasn't even a full week, but in 3 days we went, okay, Paula is an expert in this, April's an expert in this, Nevin's got a great process over there, I've got a great process in this, and we're just sharing it. And there is no competition, it's just like we're really committed to the fact that we're all going to grow together, and we have in 3 days. It's just amazing.
That brings back some awesome memories of the time at the Mavericks Club in San Diego. That was fantastic. Welcome, Adam Jelic from MiGoals.
Simon, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah, so like just a quick little intro. So what we're going to be talking about today is some of the keys to goal setting. One of the things that I've definitely found is that I want to achieve a lot more in my life, not just goals and knocking them off the list, but actually kind of focusing on the right things, like the difference between like being, effective and being efficient. So one of the things that I've found that has really helped me to do that is planning. And before I was really into goal setting very much, I didn't really have a structure at all when it comes to goal setting, and I've found some tools and some different things that have helped me get there. And one of the things is many of the MiGoals, the different planners that you've got. Mm-hmm. So your first plan was created in 2010, and you're now in 400 stores worldwide, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for joining me.
No, pleasure.
So kicking it off, like for those that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about MiGoals and like why it exists?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I started the business MiGoals back in 2010, and the initial thought was there was pain, there was a problem to solve. I'd been setting goals since I was 16 years old. At the time, I wanted to be a professional athlete, so my dream was to be a professional soccer player. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was looking for ways to get the edge on the competition. So also at the time, I read a book by the late Jim Steins called The Hero's Journey. Mm-hmm. And that reshaped the way I was thinking about life and, getting ahead and sort of making an impact. And I started setting goals at that time. And so I got into that process of setting goals because it made sense to me. Yeah. And the whole idea was when you have a clear what and why and have a clear path on what you need to do, it makes the whole journey a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And so it sort of stuck with me, and I went through a stage. Unfortunately, I didn't make it as a professional athlete, and then I went probably back into a little bit of a lull, but I kept setting goals at the time. So what I did was I'd set goals on, financial, setting a goal to, get a deposit for a car, mm-hmm. Saving for a more, house or whatever it may be. So I kept that habit going. And it wasn't until about 2008 that the light bulb moment came up for MiGoals, which essentially is we create stationary tools to help people live a better life. Right. That light bulb moment was, I was in a class, we were talking about, setting goals for the day, and they told us to take out a scrap piece of paper. Took out the scrap piece of paper, wrote my goals, and I thought to myself, I keep doing this. I write it on a scrap piece of paper, but what tends to happen is I lose that scrap hit. And then I thought to myself, ding, ding, ding. I go, you know what? I'm going to create my own goal-setting journal. Mm-hmm. I told the boss at the time, who laughed off the idea, and he goes, great idea. It probably won't work. And then I just went away, and I started to create it. Yeah. I literally went onto a Word doc, wrote it all out, and then I printed it, got a $2 Spyrex notebook. Wow. Cut it out and put it into this notebook and went to my business partner and close friend, Alec, and I go, design this for me. Right. And that was literally the beginning of MiGoals, and since then we've just continued to create these tools that help people actually get really clear on what they want, mm-hmm. and help them execute it. Yeah, that's fascinating that's how it started. Like there's quite a few different, I guess, products and different structures that already exist, mm-hmm. like in the marketplace, I guess. Like why was it that wasn't quite working for you and you wanted to create your own? Well, it's interesting, at that time there wasn't really a goal setting journal in the market. Right. it was a funny story, right? Basically, when we were about to launch the first goal setting journal, which was a 2011 MiGoals diary, our competition, Kiki K, launched a goal setting journal a month prior to that. So my heart sank a little bit when I saw that, but then I realized, you know what, this is actually, this is something that the people want. And prior to that, I'd been using different notebooks. Like I said, I'd be, use a scrap piece of paper to write goals. I'd use a diary to plan my week. I'd use a notebook to do my budget.
No particular structure?
No particular structure. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
I was looking for something really simple and logical that I could actually implement and use. And it wasn't frightening to use.
Okay.
So that was the key thing. And prior to that, I was actually a fan of Tony Robbins. And he had this, a journal of some sorts, but it was just overwhelming. There were so many questions in there, and I just sort of, even me, I was just like, I love the guy, but I picked it up and I said, this is too much. And I just wanted to streamline that.
Yeah, something you can, like, low barrier of entry, you can get started and you can use. I think, like, it's using it consistently and repeatedly, because you can get started with something, pick it up. Like, every kind of to-do list, every planner is fantastic when it's empty.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think there's so many out there, because you can change them up all the time. You feel great at the beginning, like loading it in initially, but then when you have to use it ongoing, like, it's a bit of resistance. You're like, push that to the side. Where's another blank one I can buy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's where it came from. I mean, the idea itself was how, I need to create a product for myself. Right. I mean, even through that stage, I had this issue with the fact that I had all these ideas and I had all these thoughts, and I didn't have a way to filter it. And I was telling you guys before, I read a book, Refuse to Choose, what to do when you want to do everything. So I was even going through stages like, shit, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I needed a tool, which was goal setting, to actually help me go, you know what, Adam, focus on this. This is what you want to be doing. Yeah. Yeah. You can do it all, but just not all at once. You can't, exactly. Exactly. You can try. So there's a lot of different techniques out there when it comes to like goal setting and like different structures and like how often you should look at the goals and like SMART goal techniques. Like, is there any particular structure that you've found that works quite well? Like, either for you or like in the journals themselves? What we found works well is really getting clear on the what, why, when, how. And that's what we implement throughout the books. And it's a real simple process. It's just simply, taking time to sort of sit down and go through what is it that I actually want to achieve, why is it important, and how am I going to actually go about doing it. And then you just fill that out, and that clarity starts to creep in, and it sort of makes sense. That impossible dream that you once had becomes possible because you see these small action steps in between and go, okay, you know what, I might want to start an international business, and this is the process I need to go through to actually get there. It's not as overwhelming. And I always talk about Elon Musk, right? Imagine Elon Musk when he said, I want to colonize Mars. It's a crazy dream. It's absolutely, it's not possible. But what he did was he broke it down into key milestones. First step was, let's actually create a rocket. Let's then launch it. Let's test it. And then we can go to the next stage. So once he broke that big, audacious goal down into like smaller sub goals, starts ticking them off, starts building that momentum, progress starts to happen. And then all of a sudden that impossible thing becomes reality. And it's, that's a perfect example of something audacious as that. If you actually break it down, it's actually possible. Yeah, something that I actually really focused on this year. It's not quite colonizing Mars, but I really, really wanted to see polar bears. Like, I was just obsessed with it, and I always have in my life. And a friend of mine let me know that he was actually living and working in Churchill, where there are polar bears. And I just like all the lights went on, and I was like, I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to go there. And I just, put that in there. And you work backwards. Yeah. You sort of go, like, that's where I want to go. So what do I need to do in that time? Exactly. Yeah. And like, who's going to keep me accountable? And like, when am I going to check in? And I'm going to post it out and like let people know I'm going to make these things happen. And it became something that was like this huge, like ambiguous goal, I guess, like go see polar bears at some point in your life, to in June, go see polar bears. And then you're going to have to work backwards because it's happening. 100%. And that's the simple thing, you start ticking off these small little things like, all right, I've got a friend at Tick. Get in touch with the friend Tick. And you start ticking them off, and that momentum builds. Oh, absolutely. That builds belief. And it's like, you know what, I can actually do this. I can actually see it in reach. And then you just keep going towards it. So with that momentum, what are some strategies to be able to, because we're talking about like a big, like that big, hairy, audacious goal. And it can just be like, oh my God, I want to. Yeah, exactly. Like I want a like particular financial goal, or to be able to, let's say, grow your business to a state where you're looking after your family, or growing an agency, like all of these big things that people might want. It can be very confronting to even get started. So what are some ways that you get to build momentum, like even just in your day? I mean, one of the things I go back to is term long-term vision, short-term focus. Right. So I'm really clear in terms of where I want to go, or where we want to take the business or my life, in terms of, that vision's crystal clear. Okay. It's exciting. It's something that I really want. Then I bring it back down to the day-to-day, short-term focus. Okay, so it's every day. So what do I need to do to take me closer to those goals? And you start picking off those tasks. You know, what are those important tasks? The ones that actually help you make progress and not just control the situation. Because what we essentially do is, many of us, we get into the habit of ticking off tasks. We write this to-do list, and essentially most of those tasks on that to-do list are control-based. It's just to control the day and survive. You know, it's like, all right, email back this person, do this, do that. What we tend to lose or not focus on is that progress. You know, those progress tasks. What is actually going to help me progress? And actually build that belief. Yeah. So some of the things, you know, if you do it, you know, once a day, where you're picking a task that can actually progress towards your goals, perfect. That's about 260 tasks per year based off a 52, you know, working week.
Yeah. So it's that consistency. Action. Yeah.
And there's just that simple process. Okay, did I do something to take me closer to my goals?
Yep.
Instead of just being busy and just, you know, surviving the day and, you know, just controlling your surroundings, start to think outside the box and go, okay, what can I do today? Whether it be, you know, get out of your comfort zone. One of the big things I've found for myself is getting out of my comfort zone. You know, being on this show, talking to people.
That's First time live streaming.
Don't want
to draw your attention to that.
That's out of my comfort zone.
Doing great.
But it's something that you need to be doing.
Yeah.
And you keep builds that belief.
Yeah.
And I tell people when I first started this journey, my belief was at a level was, imagine I could get this product into one bookstore. I achieved that. And then all of a sudden I went to imagine I could get this product into multiple bookstores. And then it went to imagine I could get this product into interstate bookstores, then international, and it keeps building. You keep ticking off those things, and that momentum builds and that belief builds.
Yeah, I like it how you even phrase that. Like, imagine if I could.
Yeah.
Right, and that like incites the feeling like, oh my god, that would be amazing, as opposed to like, oh, it's kind of a confronting and like a thing that needs to be ticked off. It's like it's a dream by exciting. Even just saying the word imagine. Yeah.
And that's the thing. People tend to look at goal setting as this, I don't really need to set goals. It's I don't want to do that. But I tell people, we get excited about our weekends. We get excited about our holidays. Why don't we get excited about the life we want to live? Yeah. You know, why don't we reframe it and actually look at it and go, I've got the opportunity to actually do some really cool things. Yeah. What is it that I want to do? Let's get excited about the whole process as opposed to, you know, pushing back and saying,
to you.
Yeah. Living in hope and you know, someday. Yeah. You know, create a strategy.
One day I might see polar bears. Yeah. No, I'm making it happen.
Make it happen, put it down and actually work out a strategy. At least you're giving yourself the best chance possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Has there been a time where you've been trying to achieve something in particular and it hasn't quite worked out?
100%. There's plenty of goals that I haven't achieved.
And how do you kind of recover from that, like without being like, oh my God, I'm no good at this?
It's just part of the process.
Right.
It's just understanding, being self-aware and going, you know, some things are going to happen, some aren't. And it's about progressing and growing as an individual. Like I said, you know, looking from, you know, year one or day one to now, you know, it's I pat myself on the back and go, you know, we've actually achieved something. We've got, you know, hundreds of stores around the world. We've got people using the product around the world. Yeah. That's great.
So it's looking back on some of the progress and going, yeah, like 100%. This is amazing. Look how far we've come.
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe we're not Apple, but that's okay.
And that's okay, exactly. And being grateful at the you know, the fact that we're actually giving it a crack. Yeah. And one of the key things I remember reading, you know, there was a blog piece by a nurse, and her name was Bonnie Weir out of New Zealand, and she talked about, you know, the top 5 regrets of people that are about to die. So these people in palliative care, and she'd done a blog piece and she spoke to them and goes, what are your number 1 regrets? And the number 1 regret was the fact that people didn't go out and do the things that they loved. And so that always sticks with me, and it's like, I might fail, and that's okay. We all might fail. But as long as you're giving it a crack and you sort of get back up and try again and do the things that actually matter to you. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah. And it's, I think one of the things that I see a lot of people get quite stuck is the overarching like vision. And when it's like, well, you know, set goals, it's like, well, it's almost too big. Like, what do we want? What do you want to do with your life? It's like, oh my God, like what a weighted question. But even we were talking, I think yesterday about it's just about having the yardstick by which you measure your life and just putting a bit of a line in the sand and just walking towards that. And just going, well, maybe I don't know everything that I want to do, but for right now, for the next 90 days, for the next 30 days, for today, I just want to, this would be a little bit better. 100%. So I'm going to move towards that. So I'm going to write that down, get a bit clear on how I can achieve that, and I will actively move towards that as opposed to let all these things happen to me. And it's just having that switch.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we spoke about it earlier today in terms of we are inundated with information. Oh, we're overstimulated.
No shortage of
there is so much going on. Interruption, disruption. It's all happening, and we need to for many of us, I think we're suffering from overwhelm, anxiety, depression as a result of there's all these things happening, and we don't have a filter process to control it. So a simple thing like just setting a goal and getting that focus and clarity on what is it that I want, and actually taking those actions as opposed to starting something, getting disrupted, starting something again.
Yep.
That helps so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just working towards something that actually means something to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple as that.
Yep, exactly. Working towards something that actually means something to you.
Yeah.
I think that is the goal should be reframed to that phrase.
It's not. We overcomplicate things. We think about it too much. All it is a tool. Yeah. I always tell people goal setting does not guarantee success. Yeah. It just improves your odds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you want to look at it like that, it's like if you're all over the place and you don't have any clear vision, no strategy, the chances of you actually doing something quite limited. But when you actually got that vision and that clarity and those steps in those in place, your chances improve so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? You would actually bet on yourself and go, you know what, I actually got a chance to actually fulfill this and do this. Yeah,
absolutely. So you have like quite a few products, like 5 products at the moment?
At this stage, we've probably got about, I'd say about maybe 8 core products. Yeah. And obviously different SKUs. So,
any color anyone can imagine, is that?
At one stage we did. So at one stage we sort of got a little bit color happy and just released. We had about 98 SKUs probably 2 years back.
Just responding to requests a little bit. Yeah.
This is a great color. Can you guys add this to it, the range?
Do you have a different kind of rainbow that I could have?
Yeah. And we're like, yeah, we do. We can make that. Yeah. And we learned our lesson. Less is more.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And sort of giving the consumer less choice because it's overwhelming. Again, it goes back to if we're offering 100 different colors, the consumer looks at it and goes, "Oh, I don't know which one to choose."
We're creating a product that helps you get away from overwhelm in every color you can think of.
Exactly. But choose one.
Every option you've got. So, is there what have you got in the works? What can we expect from the future of MiGoals?
So, I mean, obviously, the 2019 diaries that we're releasing, we've got some new styles. The Gold Digger Planner was really well received last year, so we've done a Kickstarter.
I've had a good time with this one.
It's done its bit. And the brilliant thing about the Gold Digger, one of the key things that we actually did with it was we created it as if you were getting coached. So one of the clear things about goal setting, we'll probably go into this after, is being able to reflect and take time to pause, see what you've done well, see what you need to improve on, and actually take action steps based off that. Okay. So there's a month-to-month reminder, like a coach there, like, what did you win? What were your wins for the month? What can you improve on? And that actually just helps you pause and go, okay, I'm on the right track. And that's been the big difference in terms of it's really helped my goal setting. Yeah, and that's the momentum builder, 100%. Isn't it? Yeah, to look back and go, wow, if I did that, imagine what else I could do. This is fantastic. And then you get that refresh, you get that energy, and you start again, and you go, all right, what do I need to do this month? And you get excited, and you start pushing forward, tick, tick, tick. Again, stop, pause. Imagine going to a coach, right? Every month they'll be asking you, so Simon, tell me, how'd you go this month? Yeah. Tell me what your wins were. So we're just getting people to actually, do that themselves. Yeah. Without a coach. Like self-coaching. Self-coaching, on a simple level. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's switch it up a little bit. We've got some people that asked a few questions in our Facebook group. So if we could, let's see if we can help some people get unstuck. Let's get unstuck. So Trish Cooper says, what are the alternatives to SMART goals? What role does creating habits have in reaching goals? I mean, habits are the big thing, right? They are super important. Developing those rituals. A good habit throughout the week, one of the things is, time blocking, setting aside specific time to work on those projects that matter. SMART goals is great because it gives you the framework to look at your goal and go, have I sort of set it the right way? Is it specific? Is it measurable, attainable, realistic, and tangible? So you can sort of go through those and tick those off when you set it. But I think, again, going back to the main important thing is the why. So there's a little exercise you can do, and it's called the 3 whys. Okay. Because when you get really deep in terms of why am I actually doing this, that gives you that extra pull to actually go out there and do it. Yeah. So generally people set goals about, losing weight, and at the core it's like, I want to lose weight just because I want to lose weight. They just think but once you go deeper into that, it's like you ask yourself 3 whys. So why do you want to lose weight? And they go deeper because I want to have more energy to spend time with, my friends, my family, whatever it may be. And then they go again, why? And then it's like, because I want to feel good about myself. Yeah. And ultimately what we're trying to aim for is that feeling. When we set a goal, we're not really going for the goal, but we're going for the feeling that it gives us. Okay. So when people set goals about, being a millionaire, it's to have that feeling of being free and in control of their life.
and you want to tap in, you want to ask yourself, like, there's something we talk about in WP Elevation called go wide, go deep, and it's really to do with like when you're talking to clients initially, they'll be, you know, say something like, I want a website or whatever they want more leads, and saying why over and over, what's that going to do for you, how is that going to help, and getting clearer on that will take them back to the real reasons why they want to achieve that anyway, why 100%. They want this project done. So similar kind of process for goal setting. Come back to the feeling of why do, like, maybe it's been on my list to lose 10 kilograms or to be able to do a muscle up by the end of this year. That's one of mine. I don't think it's going to happen. Looking at me at the moment, but we'll see. But why do I want that? And I really like this question as well. Like, what's that going to do for me? I like structuring it in that kind of a way and reflecting on that and thinking back to those feelings. Like, what will that 100%. Actually do for me? Not just ticking it off because I put it on there, but really coming back. And if you get to the point where you're like, well, maybe it won't do that much for me. Cool. All right, let's try something else.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, there's no set rules. There's no specific thing. Let's not put, you know, too many rules on this whole thing. It's just get in control, get that self-awareness back. That's what we're trying to really aim for. And then understanding that feeling, that's brilliant. Because once you understand that feeling, you can sort of implement that into your day. What do you want to feel? You want to feel control. So what can I do today to help me feel control? Right. What can I feel, do today to help me feel empowered, or, you know, those big things, you know, enthusiastic or positive, whatever it may be, and that can, you know, you can make better decisions based off that. So,
awesome. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me, Adam. I'm really excited. We're going to produce a little bit more content, some behind the scenes, a little bit of how-to. So Adam has really had no idea about what I'm going to ask or what we're going to do next. So he's been a fantastic participant in this. That was an awesome masterclass on goal setting, man. So let me just quickly have a look. So where can we stay in touch? Like, how can we stay in touch and follow you around the internet?
So through the socials, obviously at MiGoals, so MiGoals. Or the website www.migoals.com.
Okay, awesome. And I think we've got a bit of a deal for viewers at the moment. So we've got 30% off on MiGoals.com. On the full range.
On the full range. I mean, we're about to launch a 2019 diaries in the next month and a half. So you guys can hold on to it then and use it once we launch the new 2019 diaries and planners. Yeah, cool. But otherwise, feel free to shop.
Yeah, I saw there was a bit of a sign up to be notified when this is coming out on the Goal Digger.
Yeah.
Because this is I think this is fantastic. I really just hit the microphone with it. I really like the structure at the beginning, because it's about getting clear. It's getting 100%. The whys at the beginning. My future in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
In 3 years' time. I'm not going to show all my goals to everyone. I'll keep that to myself. It's my feelings that I'm going to keep private.
It's exciting to actually take time to just sort of sit there and go, what is it I actually want to do?
Yeah.
And then once things start to happen, it's like, wow, this is addictive. You know what I mean? Yeah. What else can I do?
Yeah.
And you go through that period of personal achievement, and then you go to what else can I do for others?
Yeah, absolutely. So all right, it's been absolutely awesome.
Simon,
having you on, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been great. Hang around, and we'll be doing some more stuff together for sure. All right, well, let's cut away to a clip from Mavericks. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Enjoy.
So seasoning is, so say for example, lead magnet. You're like, all right, we know we can get people to our website, but we're just not capturing any leads. So lead magnet is the one thing that's going to help us grow our list, grow our business, and then really the rest of this stuff is kind of detail, but lead magnet is the most important thing. So in the seasoning section, you would just write down, okay, how are we going to, we give you a lead magnet for free, right? The 5 things you can do on your website in the next 7 days to, fix whatever. It's not very good, but it's a starting point, right? If you haven't got one, just use that. How are you going to season that? What are you going to call your lead magnet? What does your lead magnet need to be for your particular audience? Yeah. So if lead magnet is the thing, then just make some notes and say, well, our lead magnet needs to be aimed at the magazine customers or the creative fashion industry. Yeah. That's the kind of lead magnet. And so you might just write down a title, a checklist for, creative, artistic craftspeople to launch themselves online. Nice work. Simon Kelly and Matt from Adam from MiGoals. Just called him Matt. There we go. Hey.
Get
much
back
I've
out
been
of
paying
here.
attention. I'm gone.
All
See you
right,
later.
yeah, that's it. Welcome back, Troy.
Kick me out of my own show.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll see
welcome
you.
back.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah, see you in the
I could've-
comments there, interacting with the world.
I could have watched that for a while, actually.
Yeah. That was fantastic. A lot of tweetables in that one.
A lot of tweetables.
Yeah.
One of the things I was talking to Adam about earlier, not Matt, is the idea of like this versus the physical thing.
Yeah.
Right. And the having the physical thing, because I struggle with this in the interest of complete transparency. I'm really crap at managing my to-do list. In fact, I have an item on my to-do list, find good to-do list manager. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Currently using Dynalist, Things, Asana, something else.
The
that
good
doesn't
thing is
sync.
that we kind of talked about last week as well is now our app addiction, our tool addiction is useful because on the show we can talk about that
That's
stuff.
right.
So there is a purpose, although painful it may be.
But every time I use the physical thing, it works, right? I'm just inconsistent, and I just need to make it a morning routine or a night routine to use the physical thing every morning or every night.
Yeah, you
Adam's
feel a lot of resistance.
standing behind the camera going, yes, you idiot, just get into the habit. Haven't you not been listening to anything I've been saying?
Were you not paying attention
I don't know, I
just
just
now?
feel like I want it to be digital for some reason, but
Okay.
it's just not working for me, man. Every time I use the physical thing and I get into the habit of using the physical thing, it works and I feel more productive and I feel less cluttered, but I'm just not consistent in using it.
What I was saying before, do you get that feeling of like you get a new one and you're like, awesome,
Yeah.
this is going to solve everything, fantastic for a bit, and then it starts to fade.
Yeah.
You start looking at other tools.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I have ADD. And,
Embrace it, my friend.
shiny object syndrome.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
hey, awesome. This has been great. Thanks for allowing me to come back in and bookend the show, as it were. Thanks to everyone for watching along. If you've got any questions for Adam or the team at MiGoals, leave a question underneath this video and we'll be sure to get them to come back in and answer any questions. And also, just leave us a comment and tell us how you're going with your goal-setting journey. Adam's going to hang around for a bit. We are going to make a behind-the-scenes video, and I'm also going to shoot an episode of the podcast with him and grill him a little bit more about his entrepreneurial journey and how he's got to where he is now, which he doesn't know yet, so he's now looking very scared. Until we see you again next week, please subscribe on YouTube. WPElevation.com/YouTube is where you can find all the YouTube goodness over there, and follow us here on Facebook. Tag someone in who you think might be interested or might benefit from this show, or at least find it amusing in some way, shape or form. And where else? Hit us up on Twitter. Follow the blog, check out the podcast, do all those good things, and tell us what.
Come drop in.
Come drop in, like Adam has. 231 Chapel Street, Prahran here in Melbourne. If you're ever in Melbourne, come and drop in and say good day, and we'll put you in the hot seat and grill you under the spotlight. We'll look forward to seeing you again on the show next week. Until then, my name is Troy Dean.
I'm Simon Kelly, and remember, knowledge is power.
And silence is golden.